you touched a little bit on the emotional or the mental aspects that you're dealing with when you're dealing with these injured athletes, or even athletes that are trying to, again, take it to another level. What kind of mental coaching approaches do you take with your athletes that you train, and how do you deal with any of the roadblocks that might come up along the way on their path to trying to get to a high-end performance?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I can go either way. I mean, if I'm dealing with a high-end athlete that's not suffering any kind of pain, but maybe they want to perform better, or they've hit a plateau, mentally I usually find that they're getting in their own way. I usually just got to encourage them to step out of their way and unlearn a lot of things that they've done. And I think today most people overcomplicate everything. They're inundated with so much information, and so many people have their own opinion. And, one trainer or one strength coach will say one thing, and another one will say, no, I don't do that, do it this way. And then you don't know whether you're up or down, or you're left or you're right, or who to believe or what to think. And with the Internet today also, and people can just put up a page, and then they can be an expert in no time. So there's a lot of stuff out there that is incorrect. And I think that with the mental aspect of it, I've got to deal with a performance athlete to really sit down and find out what their goal is, what their intent is, what their passion is, so I can see how much heart they have into what they're doing and how much I can challenge them, so we can form a roadmap from where they are to where they want to go, and make sure that we get there in the right direction. Because if you can't hit the targets, you can't see. So if I have an athlete that comes in to see me and they don't have goals or written down where they want to go, then already I know I'm dealing with an issue. And if you have a pain perspective, pain changes everything. Pain can demotivate you and take your heart out of it and take your soul out of it and put you into a despair and hopelessness, and you feel like you're never going to get out of it. And that can happen to an athlete as well. I mean, nothing's worse than a professional athlete or collegiate or high school athlete who gets hurt and they think their career is over. They think their life is over. And that's a lot of stuff that you got to deal with. And that's also why it's very, very important that if you're a strength coach or a personal trainer or somebody who works with people, I highly encourage you to be able to communicate and have a network of people that you can work with from a perspective on chiropractic or physical therapy or massage that understand the paradigm of movement and pain and mobility and stability and all that, so you guys can work together as a team to get this person back where they need to go, because the mental is the biggest part of success. So when people are seeing me in pain, I need to relate to them on an emotional level and appeal to what I call their first brain, which is the emotional brain. That's our reptilian brain, and it's automatic. It reacts to everything, kind of like the fight or flight. If somebody jumps out and says, boo, I mean, that's your reaction, whether you want it to happen or not. And that's the same thing with the first brain. So if you want to motivate a patient or motivate an athlete or a client to get them to a certain place, they've got to want it in their heart of hearts and in their emotional place. You can't overwhelm them with logic and data and numbers and programs and get them where you want to go. You might impress them in the beginning, but they're going to tank out because you haven't found that emotional hot button that's going to get them where they want to go. So I have to find that as a person and as an individual, what that hot button is. And you're going to find it in that history that you just spent taking the time to listen and talk to somebody, and listen with intent to understand and not just to hear. And there's a big, big difference with that. Just like when you're assessing a person, you're really looking and observing and trying to find something, not just standing there watching. It's called PTC, or present time consciousness, that when you're there with the person, you're there and you're nowhere else. And when you find it, that is where you will have that relationship. For me, it's a doctor-patient one, and it's invaluable in me getting my client or patient where they need to be. And with you as a strength coach or somebody as an athlete dealing with a high school kid or up to a professional, it's going to be the same thing for you. Find the hot button for that individual, appeal to it, and then help get them there with your logic, with your skills, with your expertise.